Hello and welcome back to the basement and to this somewhat massive woodworking project I've been working on lately down here. So last week I built this entertainment center storage area for our basement. This area is going to be like a little seating area down here, kind of like a little basement living room. And this week I'm going to be working on some of the other millwork that's going to go down in this space. So I have a cabinet that I need to build over here in this corner. And then over on this side in my sewing room area, I have a couple of smaller cabinets that I'm going to build in either corner. And then I'm going to have a desk here where I can work. But we're still kind of focusing on this area over here. Now I still have to do drawers and drawer fronts and doors for this cabinet, but before I do that, I want to go ahead and build the other pieces that I need, and I'm going to batch out all of the doors and drawers and drawer fronts at the same time, because I have found with doing any kind of woodworking, especially on larger projects, it helps if you can kind of batch out each step as much as possible. So that is the plan. But before I get started, I just want to say hello and welcome to the new people here. Last week's video did pretty well. I was actually really pleased to see that I had a lot of new viewers on that video. And you know, YouTube is a very experimental process. And when a video starts to do really well, it's very validating. So thank you guys so much for watching and commenting and liking that video. It really means a lot to me. And anyway, I hope you're here to stay. I do a lot of projects like this on this channel, and we've been working on this basement for, well, this part of the basement for the last like 3.5 to 4 months. It's been a long-term project, and I'm so glad that we're getting to projects like this that feel like we're making the space more beautiful instead of tearing it all down. So we have a couple of things we have to consider in this space. I'm going to be leaving the ceiling of this space open because we want access to this plumbing. This is plumbing that goes up to our kitchen. And then we also have a shut-off valve here that we want to maintain access to. So I'll be sure to cut like a little cubby for that as well. But it's going to be pretty straightforward. And I don't think this piece is going to take me as long as this big piece that I built last week. Obviously, it's a much smaller piece. Knock on wood though, because you never know. Sometimes these things take forever. I want to build a little frame that is going to lift the cabinets up off the floor, and I'm going to build that frame out of treated lumber since it's going to be sitting on the concrete. And then I can start building my cabinet boxes on top of that. So I just want to level this little frame, and then when I put my cabinetry on top of it, it should be level. It'll kind of make the rest of the process a lot easier. Ooh, I do not feel like working today. It is so gloomy outside and rainy. It's a little cold. The couch sure did feel nice. I'd much rather be binge watching Better Call Saul right now. Whenever I'm feeling less than motivated, I try to just tell myself, just get up and do one thing. Just do one thing. Just put on your work clothes, put on your gloves, get your space prepped, just do one thing. And then I can kind of slowly get into the groove. But the last thing I want to be doing at this very moment is being cold and covered in sawdust. But I really want to get these cabinets built, so I'm going to make it happen. So what I'm doing today is cutting the sides and the bottom of this big cabinet that's going to go in that corner. I'm going to start there. I'm probably going to have to build a lot of it in place just because I'm going to be kind of figuring it out as I go along. But that should be fine. I don't like the masks they have at Home Depot because like they have the rubber bands on the back and you got to stretch them over your head. They're just kind of awkward to get on and off. I wish I could just get some that tied behind the head because that's a lot easier to get on and off. It doesn't feel so constricting. So this needs to be, what did I say? 25 and 5/8 deep.
keying cooler on. Push the pause for relief. Free pass, you don't even have.
I'm so sore from my workout today. A lot of arm stuff in boot camp.
Someday I will see the real through today. I've got better things to do. So we don't undone. Be the cat in the sun. Set aside
Ow.
every empty spreadsheet line. Loosen up on the grind. Simmer down, settle back and mess around. Be the cat in the sun.
Okay, before I put this together, I want to go ahead and cut a hole in one of these panels for this. I have this little access panel door here. I'm going to put that in the wall of the cabinet. I've got one up here too. I don't know if you can see that. I put one here. We had a junction box in here we needed to get to. This is basically the same thing. It just kind of pops in there and, makes it look neat. So I'm going to cut a hole for that. Oh my goodness. I signed up for a spin class tomorrow. Now I'm like, I don't even know if I want to go. I'm exhausted. And hauling all this plywood around is like, it is something else. All right, so this is going to be the panel that I cut into. It needs to be 36 inches off the floor of the cabinet and then 10 3/4 from the corner. All right, so 36. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just kind of approximate. Cool. All right, let's do a little dry fit. Make sure this is right. Oop, I gotta quit doing that. It's the second time I've hit the soffit. Yeah, that'll work well, I think. Reach in there and do our little valve. All right, so I'm gonna end screw these as well, the same that I did for the shelves in last week's video. I did have a commenter suggest tacking the boards in place before I screw them, just to kind of keep everything together so that it doesn't shift apart when I screw it. I thought that was a really good idea, so I'm gonna try that. I think my nails are a little long, but I'll just have to be extra careful to not go out of whack. Oh, yeah, see, I went out the side on that one. Crap. Well, I can probably cut that off. At least it'll just hold it. These are really long nails, so it's really easy to get them to shoot out the side when trying to nail into this kind of more narrow material. This is 3/4 inch plywood. So anyway, but that'll hold it until I can screw it together. And I can just trim that nail off in the back. It's not gonna show. It'll be on the bottom. That works really swimmingly. I like that. Thanks for the tip. It's a good tip. All right, now can I get this thing into that space by myself? Oh gosh, I've been recording this whole time. Didn't even know. Okay, I think I'm ready to screw this cabinet in. So I want to snug it up nice and tight. This is kind of bowed here. That's why it's kind of not right on that, but once I get it screwed in, it'll be nice and tight. But I want to kind of snug it up to this side here. And then over here, I may have to put some shims behind here. I'll kind of figure that out after I get it kind of in place. But first, I'm going to attach it to the base, and then I'll attach it here, and then I'll kind of work out how to get it attached over there. Yeah, okay. That looks great. That looks great. Looks good enough. I am going to put another stretcher across the front here. It would have been easier to do this when I had the cabinet on the floor, but I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to put this whole thing together until I got it up here. So I just drilled some pocket holes in the back of this. I'll screw it in from the back of the cabinet or from inside the cabinet and attach it to the top here, because then I can attach my face frame and my trim to this piece here, and I don't have to worry about putting any blocking up there because this will be enough of a surface for me to attach that trim to. Let me get a clamp. Also just want to add another stretcher back here. It's not really structurally necessary for the cabinet, but I was thinking I might put like a false ceiling in this that can just rest on this and the front stretcher here. So you can kind of just tilt it up in there and set it in there so that when you open the cabinet, you don't see all these scary guts of all the plumbing and everything. Oh, I need a different screwdriver. So I've just marked my studs. I'm going to screw right in. All right, we're back in the Michigan room. I need to cut a couple more pieces. I miscalculated my plywood because originally I was thinking that that cabinet would only be 24 inches deep. It is a little over 24 inches, which is what I prefer, but I'm gonna have to get a little creative with my plywood so that I can kind of use it as efficiently as possible, because I still need to use these pieces for the cabinets that are gonna go on the other side of the room in the sewing room area. So I don't really want to cut into these right now, but I don't have pieces wide enough for the depth of the cabinet to cut these next couple of pieces. So I'm going to piece them together. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. This is just a storage cabinet. It's going to be hidden in the back. There will be a seam between the pieces, but it doesn't bother me that much, to be totally honest. So my little, my little paper here is getting kind of jumbled up with all kinds of stuff, but it's always good. I always have one of these with me whenever I'm working on these projects, so I can kind of jot down numbers and do little sketches and kind of really wrap my head around the cuts I have to make so that I don't make mistakes. I still make mistakes, but it's just nice to have this to kind of guide me through the project. All right, so the first thing I need to cut is my camera too close. Man, I'm gonna be feeling this tomorrow. Whew. I think I just broke my level. Wow. How am I able to actually do that? Did I just break this? Kind of did break it, I think. Let me put some glue on this. I think I'm going to pivot. I'm just going to put a brace under there because these pocket holes are too volatile. They kind of shift and do weird things, and I just need it to stay. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think I'm just gonna put a brace right there. Oh, what a, wow, this is just really turning into a whole thing. All right, are we still level? Please be level. Don't do me dirty. That's pretty good. I really boogered up this corner over here. I mean, this plywood was already kind of funky. I should put that on the inside. I meant to hide that in the back. And then I just put that nail through there. But where's my nippers? These are the best little tool ever. They can cut and pull out nails. I'm kind of tired today. And so I'm like really struggling through everything. All right, I still have some screws to screw in down here, but I'm gonna wait because my patience is running thin with being inside this cabinet right now. And I also need to put a filler strip back here to kind of fill this gap between, you know, where I didn't have enough material, but I might do that tomorrow. I think what I'm gonna do today before I call it a day is add the face frame to this. And then I think that'll make me feel a little bit redeemed for the trouble that I just had on this. I've been using this little laser measure so much. It's so handy. I can just line it up with the edge here. I know I need my trim piece to go all the way there. And then I lock it in. 4'6" and 1/2 inch. Got this new Gorilla Glue. I thought it was the same Gorilla Glue, like wood glue that I had before, but it's like super runny. I don't like that. right, I'm gonna wait to put the face frame on this center portion here. I'm kind of playing around with how I want to design the cabinets or the drawers for this part. And I'm not 100% sure if I want to put a face frame in the center, because I might have the cabinets just kind of meet in the center, or the drawers kind of meet in the center. So I'm gonna sleep on that and think about it. And I also just need to get in here and do a little bit more securing of this divider. That'll be a journey that I will take tomorrow because I'm exhausted today. All right, we're in, finally. I want to start working on the cabinets for the sewing room side and kind of get them to the same point as the ones over here with the face frames and everything. But it's kind of a mess over here. I need to clean up. So I'm gonna spend some time tidying up down here and make some space to build more cabinets. All right, so let's chat about the plan for this area. I've kind of been going back and forth about how wide I wanted to make the desk portion of this, because I want to make sure that I have enough room to set my sewing machine and my serger right next to each other. And for those of you that don't sew, a serger is more of like a finishing machine, and I use both of them all the time. And I like having them right next to each other so I can kind of switch back and forth between the two machines when I'm working on a project. A couple of things to note about this wall. This window is actually not centered on the wall. It is a little bit off center. I think I've got like 3 more inches on this side than I have on this side. And I designed the coffered ceiling to align with the window and kind of fake the symmetry, because if I would have done it actually symmetrical and even spacing on the ceiling, it would have made the asymmetry of the window really stand out. So I'm kind of fudging it a little bit. So for this space, I'm gonna have a cabinet here, a cabinet here, a long countertop along this entire wall, and then I'm gonna have shelves above here on this little ledge that go to the window. And I think it's just gonna look better to have the shelves go all the way from the wall to the edge of the window, same on this side. And then I think the cabinets need to match the width of the shelves above, so that basically my desk space will be the width of this window, which is about 49.5 inches. Yeah, so we've got 49.5 inches. I went upstairs and I measured my table that I use for sewing. That table's 55 inches wide, so I think losing about 6 inches in width on the tabletop surface that I have for my machines is not gonna be a huge deal. I think it's gonna be totally fine and comfortable. So that is the plan. I'm gonna make sure that they align with the edge of these windows. So I basically want I need to get some paper, actually. Hold up, let me get some paper. All right, got some paper here. Let me get a pencil. All right, so this side, my cabinet needs to be 42 3/4 inch wide. Okay, so 42 3/4 inch. Cabinet 1. My adjustable height table, I have it at 30 inches currently, so I think that's a good target for the height of these cabinets. And they won't be adjustable like my sewing table is currently, but to be totally honest, I don't ever adjust it for sewing, and I am planning to build a huge cutting table for this space. Okay, the left side's 42 3/4 inches wide, right side is 46 1/8 inches wide, and then both are going to be 30 inches tall. Approximately. Okay, so let me just draw this out. It always helps me to kind of draw things out. I'm gonna be building these the same way that I built the ones on the other side of the basement, just basically making boxes. And because this space is kind of wide, so with plywood, for 3/4 inch thick plywood, a 36 inch span is kind of the max you wanna go with an unsupported span. So going over 36 inches, it's just gonna be more prone to sagging over time. And so with that in mind, I probably wanna do 2 sections for each cabinet. That way, that will mean I have to build more drawers, which is okay. I could also do like a drawer and door combo cabinet on each side. I can kind of figure all that out later, but I'm thinking I might have to split those into 2 pieces. So while I think on that, I'm gonna go ahead, got a little splinter. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of draft out the section of this. I kind of did this already on the other side, but I just wanna redraw this because this is the paper I'm gonna be carrying around with me. And the cabinets on the other side of the basement, I didn't do a recessed toe kick. I just made that flush. I'm gonna have that flush with the front of the cabinet because I wanted to put trim on there. I think for this, because this is kind of a work surface and I might be walking up to this and standing in front of it, I think that toe kick would actually be good to have. So I am gonna have the toe kick in here. That'll be recessed, but it'll be the same kind of concept, lifting it up 3.5 inches off the floor. And then I want my total height to be 30 inches approximately. So the easier way to build this, if I did 2 sections, would be to build 2 boxes and butt them up against each other and then put the face frame over the center. But then that means I have to use more material to do that. But after going through what I went through on that cabinet over there, the little divider piece, it's just a pain in the butt to get it in there and get it nice and straight. So if I have enough material, I would like to build 2 boxes and just sit them right next to each other. I think that would just be a lot more manageable, even though I would be using a little bit more material. But I think that's what I need to do. So it doesn't really matter if you know all of my dimensions, but it just helps me to kind of map it all out, draw it out by hand, really get it stuck in my brain. And I'll just kind of carry this around with me to help me remember which cuts to make. Got a little bit of a hodgepodge of scraps here. I'm gonna try as best I can to utilize these scraps before I start cutting into my full sheets, just to make sure I have plenty to do all the rest of the cabinets down there. So I'm gonna start with these scrap pieces. It's gonna make my cutting go a little bit less quickly, but I'll be using up as much material as I can. So the assembly for these is going to go exactly the same as it went for the cabinets that I built on the other side of the room. I'm going to build the boxes and then put those together, and then I'll add the face frames. So I won't bore you with all the nitty-gritty details, but if you want to see how I built those cabinets, you can go back to my last video. I'll be sure to link that in the description box. You are. So nice. Tonight I'll be your mother. I wish I was your lover. All right, I didn't really need glue on this part. Can you tell me something? Okay, think about how I want to do this for a sec. This wall, I built this wall. It is not very straight. It's actually kind of leaning a little bit. And this wall did give me trouble when I was building it. So I'm kind of working around that. And I think it's going to be a little bit easier for me to cut this piece to here and then put a separate piece on this. And then I'll just have one seam to kind of finish. I'm also considering staining this instead of painting it. I'm still thinking about if I want to do that or not. But anyway, I think it's going to be easier to conceal the unevenness and kind of make it look better if I have this piece, one big piece here, and then cut a piece for this side and just kind of patch the seam here. And I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but I'm not sure. Like right here, this is kind of a little bit further in than it is out here. And this one sticks out a little bit more. So it's not enough to like be a huge deal, but I think for this top, in order to make it look as even and as finished as possible, I think cutting it one big piece here and one smaller piece here is probably going to be the way to go for this. Yeah. You can tell there's a curve in it here when you look at it from here. Do I care enough to fix it? I don't know. Probably not. This one's been a little bit more challenging to put together than over there because I have this gap here and probably should have lined up the laser level this way. So I had a line to go by, but oh well. It is what it is at this point. I ain't taking it out. So I have a little gap here in the back, but I think it's narrow enough that I can cover it with 3/4 inch trim. So I'll just put kind of like a trim piece all along the entire back here. You can see that gap kind of gets narrower and narrower toward this end because this wall is just crooked. But we're gonna make it work. So I'm just going to add some additional bracing here so that the center of this doesn't bow. I had to take this out and add some extra pocket holes here because I'll attach the top from underneath with these pocket holes. Okay. Let's do this front corner here.
Which one?
Right here. Okay. Don't worry about it. I have a plan. I have a plan. I always have a plan. I have a plan A. I have plan B.
How much am I not gonna like plan B?
You're not gonna like it, okay? The alternative was to rip the drywall off the wall and redo the electrical, so it'll be all right. Don't worry about it, babe. It'll be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be just fine. Don't worry. How you feel about my drill screw skills?
I'm hearing less stripping and grinding. That's good.